Hey everybody, it's Jen Guile, your mortgage partner for life, and I am here with my good friend and real estate agent Nathan Smith with Keller Williams Key Partners. And he is my first interview for our series we're going to do on real estate agents and what their life is like and what makes them successful, and just share some tips that hopefully will help you with your business. So Nathan, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Is it morning? We've been hanging out for a while now. Is it time for
It's
half
right
hour?
at noon. It's
Got
right
it.
at noon.
How long have you been in business? Let's tell us that first.
So August will be 2 years.
Okay, and you just got an award recently, and tell me about what that award was.
So it was a Rookie of the Year award, and it's very humbling to receive that. But I just thought I was having fun, and all of a sudden I got an award. So it was surprising, but it's paying off.
Because real estate is so fun and easy, right?
Right,
All the
right.
time. Well, I'm very proud of him. Again, very short time in the business. He's already been Rookie of the Year, so obviously we can learn some things from him. Do you have any advice for brand new agents and what they should do immediately, or maybe what they shouldn't do, just based on your experience that you've had such success early?
So I don't know, for me it was all about relationships. If I didn't have the relationships I had early on, I don't think any of my transactions would have gone the way they did. For example, having relationships with experienced agents in the office, someone to be able to go to and ask questions, finding a trusted lender who you could count on. So, you played a very important role in that. Finding and picking an inspector I could trust and I adored. Someone I knew I could call and they'd be there next day and then they wouldn't scare off the client,
Right.
but yet would be very thorough. Just anyone that you can build a relationship with beginning that has anything to do with houses, so plumbers and electricians and any service that you can provide that your clients, they'll receive top-notch care from,
Okay.
was key for me in the beginning.
So finding mentors in the office, because obviously it's good to shadow people when you start, because there's so much to learn. It's like drinking from a firehouse
Right.
sometimes. And then finding trusted service providers that you can count on, that you can put your name to, because you have to have all these other people involved in a transaction in order for you to be successful. And it's all about finding the right people.
Right.
Okay. Talk to me about how you are designing your business. You talked about working by relationships, so talk to me about that a little bit.
So I have probably lost out on some deals only because, I'm not really pushing the transaction as much as I am the relationship.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that I'll have a client that will call and want to look at a house, and I will, we'll review it and we'll go over the seller's disclosure and take a look at it or preview it, and it may not fit their needs. We usually do a needs assessment in the beginning, and it will be glaringly opposite of what they told me they want.
Right.
And so we'll point that out, and I know I've told you before that one of the things that when I'm out with a client I will do is I will assess on how easy that property would be to sell in another 5 or 10 years, and if it's not something that would sell easily, for example, something like we talked about on backs to a freeway, or has a floodplain or anything like that, we'll talk them out of it. And I know in the end they'll appreciate that more than just a guy who's wanting to make a sale.
So they know that you're advising them long-term, it isn't just for this house, and that you actually care about future planning. It isn't just a sale.
Correct.
This is really important. What would you say is maybe the biggest mistake you made when you first started?
Biggest mistake probably was, I just spent a lot of money, threw a lot of money at useless things. As a new agent, you're presented you're presented with a lot of options as far as CRMs or marketing materials or technology, and I just kind of threw money at anything, just hoping to generate more business. And the focus shouldn't have been on that. It should have been more of the relationship or relational side of that, connecting with old friends and the database, and that's where the energy should have gone, versus throwing money at stuff initially.
It is confusing in the beginning because they make you feel like you need all of these shiny objects and tools to be successful, and really, you need your phone. You need your phone and your ability to connect with people. And at the end of the day, the rest of that stuff is nice to have as an extra, but not necessary to be successful. What would you say differentiates you from other agents, other than maybe what you've already talked about? So you care at a high level, you're gonna make sure that it's a good fiscal transaction for them. What would maybe be one or two things that would differentiate you?
I would say, and I think my past clients or even my current clients would say or tell you that from beginning to end, they feel like they're my only client. Where that's a difficult job to balance, because a lot of times they're not my only client. But it's a process, and for the most part, everyone's going to get from A to B, and it's just how we navigate those waters and the ease of the transaction, and just really getting them involved in every process, I think really calms people.
Yep.
And like I said, the goal is it is an emotional piece,
Yep.
buying a home, and I just want them to have as much fun as they can have along the way, so that when it's all said and done,
Yeah,
that their friends or their parents or their cousins may call and they can experience the same.
I was gonna say, one of the things you haven't mentioned is your fun. And I think people take that out of the mix sometimes, because it is a serious financial transaction, and yet it's supposed to be fun, you're supposed to enjoy it. And people don't always understand that the process is hard, and there's financial pieces and credit pieces and lots of things that can go wrong, lots of people involved along the way who you can't control. But at the end of the day, you're getting a house. It's a house, it's such a big deal, it's the American dream. And you're supposed to have fun and enjoy it. It's kind of like when people get married and it's a business all of a sudden. It's you gotta register and you gotta, and there's no joy in it. So I would say, in my experience with you, that is different than a lot of other agents I've known over the years, is you have so much fun with your clients. And I have been included on some joint communication where there's jokes and there's little one-liners and private stories that we end up having. And to me, I think that's what's helped me bond even more with the clients, because my side's worse than yours. We're just paper. We don't help them find the house that they love. But when we can connect with them on that level, when they're emotional, and you can remind them that this is a great thing and it's supposed to be fun for you, how do we get back to that? I think you have a great ability to calm people down and remind them of that. And I think that's important, and I don't think it should be taken for granted, because I think you're very good at that. I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that. So,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Anything else you want to share with either a new agent or maybe someone who's struggling, or even middle of the road, 10 years in the business? I think a lot of times what happens is it's easy to get burnt out in this industry, and we always have to remember the joy and the excitement we felt when we first got into it, and how we felt like anything is possible. So since you're still new, you haven't been beaten down yet too much, what would you share as maybe some pieces of advice?
So, for me, I think it's just always going back. I have a big sign in my office that says, "Remember your why." And, my why is just this process is here. It's been here for years. Like you've touched on it. I want to make it fun. I want to make it as easy on the clients as possible. And I want to be able to live a life where I can decide my balance between work and family and anything else. So there are many ways that the process can be attacked, and I feel like I did a lot of open houses early on, and I kind of got burnt out on that. And then you can move to farming and move to door knocking and calling expired and FSBOs and whatever it may be. Just focus and go back on what is your big why,
And what resonates with you?
What's your reason? Why are you here? And like I said, there's a million ways to cut the cake, and if you could just switch it up, if you're feeling like you're getting burnt out, just switch it up and try new. I was very scared, taking the Feeney course and many of the other courses, Bold and whatnot, on trying new things, I have these limiting beliefs that I'm not going to go door knock, or I'm not going to do this, and you know, just expose yourself and try to find what works best for you, and keep going back to your big why.
I think that it's very hard for everybody in our industries, even if you've had exponential success or been doing this for a long time, to not sometimes doubt yourself or to think, I couldn't do that, or we talked about this earlier, the first time I got up to teach that Peak Producers class, we had 65 students in the class, and I remember being panicked the night before and thinking, why in the world would people want to hear my stories, or why? I know I have the ability to impact them at a deep level here, but why? Who cares? I'm standing up. There's people far more successful and more well-polished than I am. And I got over myself, and I learned that by helping to educate other people and helping them grow their business has become one of my whys. And of course, it has increased my business, because if you help other people, inevitably they feel connected to you. And I think it's important to figure out what that is in your business. And I know for you, that's being face-to-face with people and doing a lot of social interaction and mixing that with the business piece, because it doesn't have to be just business. I always say, if I don't get a hug at the closing table, I feel like I failed. Not everyone's gonna be my best friend, but I want them to at least feel like I care about them and I'm somebody that they can call after the fact, and I think you have that too. So, anything else you wanna share?
Just, you know, that every office has that one guy or that one gal who's really good in that one aspect. And if it's door knocking, or, you know, if someone's having great success with a specific partner, whether it's a lender or an inspection or whatever, don't be afraid to go ask how they're running their system and what models they have in place. Because, you know, if your office is anything like ours, I know our people are willing to share and help grow, and so don't be afraid to ask.
One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was find a mentor and be a mentor. And I would not be where I'm at without the mentors that I've had, and now I do feel like it's my responsibility to give some of that back to other people, and I think you've done a good job with that. You obviously created the Shadow Buddies program and some other things here. Even though you're still new, relatively new, in building your business, you're still taking time to give back to other people, and I think that's a huge piece of it. So, how do people get a hold of you?
Go to www.wowhomeskc, or Facebook page, Nathan Smith Realtor, KW Partners, or cell phone 816-588-3831.
And I can tell you personally, he's a very good guy. He's an exceptional agent, but even more importantly to me, he's a good guy and has an awesome family. And I think you do have the ability in this business to have all those things, but not everybody does. And I'm very grateful for you. So thank you for talking with me today.
Thank you, Jen.